The door creaked open like a gunshot in the dead of night, shattering the fragile cocoon of my sleep. I bolted upright, heart slamming against my ribs, the sheets tangled around me like chains, and there he was, Jordan, my best friend of 8 years, silhouetted against the hallway light, his face pale as ghost under the spill of the fridge glow from the kitchen beyond. "Alex," he whispered, voice cracking like thin ice. "What the hell did you do?" Couldn't breathe. The dream clung to me like sweat-soaked fog, flashes of that rainy afternoon in Central Park, his hand brushing mine by accident, the way my world had tilted on its axis. But this wasn't the dream. Jordan's eyes locked on the nightstand, where my phone lay face up, screen still glowing with the half-typed confession I'd abandoned hours ago. "I love you, man. More than friends. Always have." The words hung there, damning and raw, the autocorrect betrayal of my midnight vulnerability. He stepped forward, slow as if the floor might give way, and I wanted to vanish, to rewind the clock to yesterday when we were just two guys from Queens splitting a six-pack on the fire escape, laughing about nothing. But the air thickened with the weight of it all. The unspoken glances across crowded bars, the late-night drives down the FDR where I'd memorized the curve of his jaw in the dashboard light. Jordan had always been the straight arrow, the golden boy with easy smiles for girls at parties, while I nursed my secrets like a bad habit. And now, in this shoebox apartment in Bushwick, with the distant rumble of the J train vibrating the walls, everything we'd built was crumbling. I scrambled for the phone, fumbling it into the dark, but it was too late. His hand shot out, grabbing my wrist. Not hard, but firm enough to pin me in place. Is this about me?" His voice was a whisper, laced with something between hurt and horror, like he just uncovered a family heirloom stained with blood. I nodded, throat closing up, the truth tasting like ash on my tongue. 8 years of brotherhood, of covering each other's asses through job losses and heartbreaks. And here we were, teetering on the edge of a chasm neither of us had dared name. It started innocently enough back in the fall of 2017, when we were both 22 and freshly spit out of community college into the meat grinder of New York City. I was slinging lattes at a hipster cafe in Williamsburg, dreaming of screenwriting gigs that never came, while Jordan worked construction on high-rises downtown, his arms turning bronze under the summer sun. We met at a dive bar off Bedford Avenue, the kind with sticky floors and a jukebox that only played Springsteen covers. He was there drowning the sting of a breakup. His high school sweetheart from Staten Island had ghosted him after he wouldn't commit, and I was nursing a cheap IPA after bombing an open mic night. "You're Alex, right? The guy who wrote that bit about the pigeon revolution." He slid onto the stool next to me, grinning like he'd just won the lottery, his blue eyes crinkling at the corners. I posted a dumb script snippet on a local Facebook group, and somehow he tracked me down. That night, we talked until last call. About our shitty bosses, the Mets' eternal choke, the way the city chewed you up and spat you out if you let it. By dawn, we were stumbling back to my old walk-up in Ridgewood, crashing on the couch with greasy slices from the corner pizzeria. From there, it snowballed. Jordan became my anchor in the storm of freelance hustles and rejection emails. We'd hit up rooftop parties in Bushwick lofts, where the air hummed with indie folk and the faint tang of weed, and he'd pull me onto the dance floor when I hung back, too self-conscious about my lanky frame and the way my laugh came out too loud. "Live a little, Lex," he'd say, clapping my shoulder, his touch lingering just a beat too long for my traitorous heart. I fell for him in pieces. The way he'd blast Motown on road trips to the Jersey Shore, singing off-key to keep me awake. How he'd show up at my door with takeout after a bad date, never prying but always there, solid as the Brooklyn Bridge. But I buried it deep. Jordan was straight as the Verrazano, or so I told myself. Endless string of flings with bartenders and yoga instructors, stories swapped over beers like war tales. Me? I dipped my toe into the gay scene at Stonewall on weekends. Awkward hookups that left me emptier than before. No one measured up to him, to the easy rhythm of our friendship. We were the odd couple, him, the broad-shouldered Irish Italian with a perpetual 5 o'clock shadow and a laugh that filled rooms. Me, the wiry half-Puerto Rican kid from Corona with a notebook full of half-baked dreams and a chip on my shoulder the size of the 5 boroughs. By 2020, The pandemic had us holed up in my cramped two-bedroom, pooling resources like survivors in a zombie flick. Masks and hand sanitizer became our love language, along with nightly Zoom trivia nights and baking disasters that ended in smoke alarms and hysterics. That's when Simon entered the picture. A mutual friend from Jordan's construction crew. This quiet graphic designer with wire-rimmed glasses and a dry wit that cut through the isolation like a knife. Simon was out and proud, unapologetic in a way I envied, and he became the third wheel that kept us sane. Movie marathons of The Wire, homemade empanadas from my abuela's recipe, debates over whether Inception was genius or pretentious crap. Simon saw through me from the jump. One humid July evening, as we sprawled on the fire escape with canned margaritas sweating in our hands, he leaned in close, voice low under the city symphony of horns and shouts. You know he's blind to it, right? The way you light up around him. It's written all over you, Alex. I laughed it off, blaming the tequila, but his words lodged like a splinter. Simon didn't push, but he became my confessor, the one I'd vent to after Jordan crashed on my couch post-breakup, oblivious to the ache in my chest. That night, the one that shattered everything. Jordan had come over after a brutal shift, reeking of sawdust and frustration. His latest girl, a paralegal named Mia, had bailed on their anniversary plans for some work trip, and he'd shown up with a bottle of Jameson and a playlist of sad sack country. We pounded shots until the room spun, trading stories of our worst heartaches, and in a rare moment of vulnerability he admitted, I don't know, man. Sometimes I wonder if I'm just broken. Like, what if I'm chasing the wrong thing? His head lolled on my shoulder, breath warm against my neck, and for a heartbeat, I let myself imagine it. Pulling him closer, confessing everything under the neon flicker from the bodega sign outside. Instead, I poured him water, tucked him into the guest room. My room, really, since I took the couch, and retreated to my bed, the whiskey churning in my gut. Sleep came fitful, haunted by what-ifs, and that's when I grabbed my phone, thumbs flying in the dark. Jordan, there's something I need to tell you. It's about us. About how every time you smile, it delete, rewrite. I love you, man. More than friends. Always have. I stared at it, pulse thundering, then tossed the phone aside, willing sleep to swallow me whole. Hours later, the door creaked, and now here we were. Jordan released my wrist, sinking onto the edge of the bed like his legs had given out. The silence stretched, taut as a bowstring, broken only by the drip of the faucet in the bathroom. How long? He finally asked, not looking at me. His fingers tracing the frayed hem of the quilt my mom had sewn back in high school. Since that first night at the bar. Maybe before. The words tumbled out, a dam breaking after years of pressure. I didn't mean for it to happen. You're my best friend, Jord. I tried to kill it, I swear. Dates, apps, Simon even set me up once. But it's you. It's always been you. He rubbed his face, elbows on knees, the stubble rasping under his palms. Simon knew. There it was, the first crackle of something sharper than hurt. Jealousy? No. Accusation. That son of a bitch. All those side conversations, the looks. He knew and didn't say shit. It's not like that. I reached for him, but he flinched, and it stung worse than any rejection. He was protecting me. What were we supposed to do? Drop it like a bomb and watch everything blow up? Jordan stood abruptly, pacing the narrow strip of floor between bed and dresser, his bare feet silent on the worn hardwood. Everything's already blown up, Alex. 8 years, man. We shared a goddamn apartment through the apocalypse. I thought we were solid. His voice broke on the last word, and he turned, eyes glistening in the low light, blue as the Hudson at dusk, stormy now. Do you have any idea what this does? What it changes? I did. God, I did. The barbecues with his family in Bay Ridge, where his dad would clap me on the back and call me the brother he never had. The double dates that weren't, where I'd play wingman while my heart twisted. The future we'd half-joked about, buying a cabin upstate, growing old yelling at kids on our lawn. All of it poisoned now, retroactively laced with subtext I'd never meant to inject. Tell me what you need, I whispered, hating how small I sounded. Yell, hit something, leave. Just don't disappear on me. Not like this. He stopped pacing, back to me, shoulders hunched like he carried the weight of the skyline. I need to think. Alone. The words landed like a gut punch, but I nodded, swallowing the sob clawing up my throat. He grabbed his jacket from the chair, the one I'd patched last winter after a site accident, and paused in the doorway. This doesn't erase us, Lex. Not yet, but damn. I need to figure out what the hell I feel. The door clicked shut behind him, soft as a sigh, and the apartment echoed with emptiness. I curled into the sheets, still warm from his presence, and let the tears come, hot, silent rivers carving canyons in my chest. Dawn crept in, painting the walls in bruised purples and golds, and I wondered if this was the end or just the beginning of something uglier, truer. Weeks blurred into a haze of avoidance and half-truths, the kind that fester like untreated wounds. Jordan texted sporadically, "You good?" or grabbing beers later. But our hangs felt like minefields, every laugh laced with caution, every silence heavy with the unsaid. Simon, bless him, tried to mediate over coffee at that same Williamsburg spot where it all began, his glasses fogging from the steam of his flat white. "Give him space, but not too much," he advised, stirring sugar with surgical precision. "Jordan's not the villain here, Alex. He's just processing. Straight guys don't get a manual for this shit." I wanted to believe him. Simon had become my lifeline, his steady presence a counterpoint to Jordan's storm. We'd started hanging one-on-one more art walks in Chelsea, where he'd geek out over Basquiat's Jagged Fury, or quiet dinners at Hole-in-the-Wall Taquerias in the East Village, trading stories of our immigrant roots. His dad was a Peruvian expat who'd fled the shining path. Mine, a factory worker from San Juan who'd chased the American dream only to find it in endless overtime. Simon got the cultural tightrope, the code switching that left you bilingual but never fully at home. And yeah, there were sparks, his hand on my arm during a laugh, the way his dark eyes held mine a beat too long. But my heart was still Jordan's prisoner, chained to memories that replayed like a scratched vinyl. One crisp October afternoon, as leaves turned the parks into firestorms of red and gold, Jordan finally cracked the door open. He showed up at my door unannounced, duffel bags slung over his shoulder, looking like he'd run a marathon through hell. Bags under his eyes, jaw set in that stubborn line I knew from his poker face during Mets playoffs. "Can I crash here? Mia's place it's done. For good this time." I stepped aside, pulse skittering, and watched him drop the bag by the couch like it weighed a ton. "Yeah, man. Always." The words felt like a truce, fragile as tissue paper. We ordered Thai from the spot on Knickerbocker, ate cross-legged on the floor with the Sopranos droning in the background, and for a while it was almost normal. Almost. But the elephant loomed, tusks glinting in the lamplight. Halfway through his pad CEW, Jordan set down his fork, wiping his mouth with the back of his hand. "I've been seeing someone. Therapy, this queer therapist in Midtown, Ellie. Simon recommended her." My fork froze mid-air, pad thai dangling precariously. Simon, of course. The betrayal stung, a fresh twist of the knife. Not that he'd kept my secret, but that he'd maneuvered behind the scenes, playing puppeteer while I flailed. "Smart," I managed, forcing a nod. "What did she say?" He leaned back against the couch, staring at the ceiling cracks like they held answers. "That I'm not broken, just scared. Of labels, mostly. Of what it means if." He trailed off, rubbing his neck, the flush creeping up from his collar like guilt. "If I've been lying to myself too. About you. About everything." The room tilted. I set my plate down, hands trembling just enough to betray me. "Jordan." "No, let me finish." He met my eyes then, raw and unguarded, the blue depths swirling with tempests. "That night when I read your text, it gutted me, not because it's wrong but because, shit Lex, I felt it too. The pull. Those moments on the road trips, or when you'd crash at my folks after a bender and we'd wake up tangled on the couch. I chalked it up to bromance, to us being us. But seeing it in black and white, It forced me to look. My breath hitched, hope blooming fragile in my chest, a weed pushing through concrete. And I'm terrified. He laughed, bitter and broken, running hands through his hair until it stood in spikes. What if we try and it torches everything? What if I'm just confused? Rebounding from Mia. Ellie's got me unpacking all this crap from growing up. Dad's man-up bullshit, the locker room jokes that made anything soft feel like weakness. But damn, Alex, when I think about losing you, it hollows me out worse than any of that. I crossed the space between us in a heartbeat, kneeling in front of him, our knees brushing like live wires. Then don't lose me. We figure it out together. Slow. No labels if you don't want em. Just us. My hand found his, calloused from hammers and heartaches, and he didn't pull away. Instead, he threaded our fingers, grip tightening like a lifeline. That night, we didn't sleep apart. Not in the biblical sense, no, we were both too raw for that, too American in our Puritan hang-ups to rush the physical. But he stayed in my bed, backs to the wall, talking until the sky lightened over the East River. Stories spilled. His first crush on a boy in Little League, buried under team chants. My abuela's whispered tales of queer uncles back in Puerto Rico, silenced by church and machismo. Vulnerability wove us tighter, threads of gold in the dark. For a month it was a tentative bloom. Stolen glances over breakfast bagels. His foot hooking mine under diner tables in Astoria. We hit the high line at dusk, hands brushing as we traced the elevated paths. The city sprawling below like a promise. Simon noticed, of course. Pulled me aside after a group hike in the Palisades, his smile tight as he clapped my shoulder. Proud of you, man. But watch your heart. Jordan's got miles to go. I brushed it off, high on the newness, but doubt gnawed at the edges. Then came Thanksgiving, that great American ritual of forced cheer and familial knives. Jordan's folks in Bay Ridge had expanded the invite, me, Simon, even Ellie for good measure, and the house smelled of brine turkey and Nana's sfogliatelle, laughter echoing off the Formica counters. It was perfect, almost. Jordan's hand on my lower back as we carved the bird. His sisters teasing about, you two finally tying the knot. Met with easy deflections. But under the table, his knee bounced like a jackhammer, and by pie time he was chain-smoking on the stoop. Marlboro's a habit he'd kicked years ago. Talk to me? I said, sliding out with a blanket, the November chill biting through my sweater. He exhaled smoke in a dragon's breath, eyes fixed on the streetlights haloing the row houses. Dad cornered me in the garage, said he saw the way I look at you, asked if it's that phase thing like my cousin went through. His voice was steel wrapped in velvet, but I heard the fracture. I denied it, laughed it off, but inside, killed me, Lex, like I'm still that kid hiding report cards. I wrapped the blanket around us both, our shoulders touching, the warmth a small rebellion. You're not hiding anymore, not from me. He stubbed out the cigarette, turning to me with eyes fierce as a winter gale. But I am. From them. From myself. And what if that's not enough? What if I can't? His words cut off as headlights swept the street. A car idling too long at the curb. Mia's car. She stepped out, coat hugged tight, face a mask of determination under the sodium glow. Jordan, we need to talk. Her voice carried, sharp as shattered glass, and the world narrowed to that moment. The three of us frozen on the stoop, the blanket slipping from our laps like a shed skin. He stood, slow and deliberate, glancing back at me with apology etched in every line. Just a minute, Alex. But minutes stretched to 20, then an hour, their murmurs filtering through the screen door like poison gas. Simon found me in the kitchen, nursing a glass of Chianti, his hand on my elbow a steady anchor. Breathe, amigo. This is his mess too. When Jordan returned, the pie was cold, the house hushed. Mia had gone, tires squealing into the night, but her ghost lingered in the red rimming his eyes. She knows, he said flatly, collapsing into a chair. About us. Saw us at that gallery opening last week. Said I'm experimenting to spite her. He laughed, hollow, like it's a phase. Like you're a goddamn rebound. The word us hung there, a fragile ornament, but the subtext shattered it. I pushed back from the table, chair scraping like nails on chalkboard. And what did you say? That it's real? Or did you let her rewrite it? He flinched, head in hands. I don't know, okay? It's all crashing in at once. The family, her, you. I need time, Lex. Real time. Time. That thief, that bastard. I nodded, throat tight, and excused myself to the guest room, where the twin bed creaked under my weight like an accusation. Sleep evaded me, the house settling around buried secrets, and by morning Jordan was gone. Back to his own place, a post-it on the fridge. Love you, brother. Talk soon. Brother. The demotion stung. A velvet glove over the fist. Simon drove me home through the gray dawn, his silence companionable until the Williamsburg Bridge loomed, steel girders framing the skyline like bars. He's scared, Alex, but fear's a liar. Don't let it steal what you've built. I wanted to believe him, but as the towers receded in the rear view, doubt rooted deep. Betrayal wasn't always a knife in the back. Sometimes it was the slow bleed of half measures, the retreat into safe harbors. And as winter gripped the city in icy fingers, I wondered if our thaw had been just that. A fleeting spring, destined to freeze over. The texts tapered. Busy week became rain check, then radio silence. I threw myself into work. A spec script about two friends unraveling in the Adirondacks, meta as hell, and Simon's orbit. Our coffee dates evolving into something warmer, tentative kisses under the awning of his Greenpoint studio. He was kind, Simon, patient with my ghosts, his touch a bomb without demand. No rush, he'd murmur, tracing my knuckles with his thumb. I'm here when you're ready. But readiness was a myth. One sleety February night, as I trudged home from a pitch meeting in Flatiron. Another polite no. The doorman buzzed me up with a cryptic, "Visitor waitin', Mr. Rivera." My stomach dropped. Jordan, coat dusted with snow, paced the hallway like a caged wolf, breath fogging in the draft. "We need to talk," he said, no preamble, pushing past into the apartment. The door slammed, echoing like finality. The air crackled with the static of unspoken fury, the radiator hissing like a kettle about to boil over. Jordan shrugged off his coat, revealing a thermal that clung to his frame, muscles taut from weeks of avoidance-fueled gym sessions. His eyes, those damn blue eyes, were bloodshot, shadowed, but burning with a fire I hadn't seen since the night we'd snuck into a Knicks game on comp tickets, cheering until hoarse. "Talk, then?" I said, arms crossed like armor, leaning against the kitchenette counter. The space felt smaller with him in it, charged, every inch a battlefield of what-ifs. He raked a hand through snow-damp hair, pacing again. That restless prowl I'd once found endearing, now exhausting. I screwed up. With Mia, with my head, with everything. He stopped, facing me square, vulnerability cracking his voice like fault lines in concrete. "She told your Simon. Or he told her. I don't even know anymore, but it's out. She posted some bullshit on Insta, tagging half our circle, calling me confused, and you the other man. My phone's blowing up. Dad called, left a voicemail that." He swallowed hard, Adam's apple bobbing. "That basically disowned me." The words landed like body blows, each one stealing breath. Simon, again. The betrayal bloomed hot and ugly. Not just the leak, but the ease with which our private fractures became public spectacle. "He wouldn't," I started. But Jordan cut me off with a sharp laugh. "Wouldn't he? I confronted him yesterday. He admitted it, said he was protecting you, that I was stringing you along, too chicken shit to commit, that you deserved better than my half-assed bullshit." Jordan's fists clenched, knuckles whitening. Like he's the fucking oracle. Like he hasn't been circling you this whole time, waiting for me to bail. I stepped forward, heat rising in my cheeks. "Don't put that on him. Simon's been my rock while you played hide-and-seek with your feelings. Yeah, he overstepped big time, but you vanished, Jordan. Left me twisting in the wind after that night on the stoop." His face crumpled, the fight draining like sand through fingers. "I know. God, I know. Panicked. Therapy's great for unpacking. But facing it? Owning that I want this, you, us, whatever the hell it is, it's like jumping without a net. He closed the gap, hands hovering near my arms, not quite touching. But losing you? That's the real fall. I can't breathe without you, Lex. Not anymore. The dam I'd built against him cracked, tears pricking hot. Then why the radio silence? Why let Mia's venom spread like wildfire? Our friends, hell, the whole crew from the old bar is whispering now. Poor Jordan, led astray. It's not just your family. It's mine too. Abuela saw the post. Asked if you're that nice boy turning you funny. He winced, pulling me into a hug then. Fierce, bone-crushing. His chin on my shoulder, stubble grazing my neck.
I'm sorry.
For all of it. Let me fix it. We stood like that, swaying slightly. The radiators rattle the only soundtrack, until he pulled back, eyes searching mine. Start with this. I love you. Not brother style. Not safe. Real. Messy. Terrifying real. The confession hung. A lifeline tossed across the chasm. I searched his face for the lie, the retreat, but found only raw truth, mirrored in the fear echoing my own. Prove it, I whispered, not a challenge but a plea. He did, in the American way, action over poetry. The next days were a whirlwind of damage control and reclamation. We drafted a joint post, simple, no frills, rumors suck. We're figuring us out. Back off. No hashtags, no pleas for likes. Just us claiming our narrative. Jordan called his dad, voice steady through the speakerphone static, laying it bare. I'm gay, Pop, or bi or whatever. But Alex, he's family. More than, deal with it or don't, but I'm done hiding. The line went dead, but 2 days later, a care package arrived, cannoli from Nana. A note in his dad's scrawl. Doors open when you're ready. Love, Dad. No apology, but a crack in the armor, humanistic in its stubborn grace. Simon? The reckoning was uglier. I met him at his studio, the air thick with turpentine and regret, canvases leaning like silent witnesses. I thought I was helping, he said, glasses slipping down his nose, voice small. You were hurting, Alex. Jordan's pace was killing you. It wasn't your call. I kept my tone even, the betrayal a dull ache now, not a blaze. You outed us both. For what? To play hero. He nodded, tears tracking clean paths through paint smudges on his cheeks. Jealousy, mostly. I saw how you looked at him, wished it was me. But that's no excuse. We talked for hours. Forgiveness not easy, but extended, fragile as first frost. Go be happy, he said at the door, hugging me fierce. You deserve it. Spring unfurled tentative, cherry blossoms dusting the streets like confetti for our quiet revolution. Jordan and I rebuilt slow. Walks in Prospect Park, where dog walkers and joggers blurred into anonymity. Cooking disasters in the kitchen, salsa verde splattering counters as we laughed through the burns. Intimacy came in layers. Kisses that started chaste, exploratory, building to something deeper, not rushed but revered. No grand gestures, just the profound ordinary. His hand in mine at a Mets game, booze for the umps blending with our whispers. My head on his chest during Friday Night Lights marathons, his heartbeat a steady drum against the small-town dreams on screen. But climax brewed in the shadows, as it always does in this city of hustlers and heartbreakers. May brought a job offer for Jordan, foreman gig in Chicago, 6 figures, a fresh start away from the gossip mills. It's a chance, he said over diner eggs at 3 a.m., the fluorescent buzz underscoring his hesitation. But leaving you feels like amputation. Don't, I said, fork clattering. We just got here. Real. He nodded, but doubt flickered. A week later, the conflict erupted. Mia, uninvited, at our door with a bottle of wine and crocodile tears. I miss you, she cooed, ignoring me like furniture. This phase, it's the city's fault. Toxic friends, pressure. Come home to Staten, where things make sense. Jordan froze, me beside him like a shadow. The betrayal wasn't hers. this calculated ambush, but his hesitation, the way his hand twitched toward the door. Mia, no. Think about it, she pressed, eyes sliding to me with venom. He's using you, turning you into something you're not. The words ignited the powder keg. Get out, I snarled, stepping forward. But Jordan's arm barred me, gentle but firm. Alex, wait. His voice was calm, too calm, and that's when I saw it, the waver, the old fear resurfacing like bile. She's wrong, but Chicago, space. Maybe it's what we need to know if this is solid. The room spun, betrayal's sharpest edge. Not rejection, but conditional love, the safety net of escape. Space? After everything, you're running. Again. Tears blurred him, but I saw the nod, small and ashamed. I love you, he said, but it echoed hollow, a reflex. Mia smirked, slipping away victorious, and Jordan followed hours later. Duffel repacked, cab waiting downstairs. Call me when you're settled. I choked out, door closing on the man who'd walked into my life and heart like a storm. Summer scorched the city, humidity clinging like regret. Simon checked in, his friendship a quiet harbor. But I drifted, scripts piling up, nights at the bar where we'd met, nursing whiskeys to ghosts. Letters came from Jordan. Postcards of Lake Michigan's endless blue, words scrawled in his block print. Missing you. Therapy here's brutal. Realizing I ran from feeling, not you. I wrote back, guarded. Miss the mess of us. Come home when you're whole. Autumn waned into winter again, the circle cruelly complete. Then, one December eve, as snow blanketed the fire escape in hush, the door creaked. Not a ghost, but flesh. Jordan, thinner, eyes clear as thawed rivers, duffel at his feet. I quit Chicago, came back for the only home that matters. No preamble, just truth, arms open. I crossed the threshold, pulling him in, our kiss salt-sweet with forgiveness. No grand redemption, just two flawed men, American dreamers in a city of second chances, choosing love over fear. The ending wasn't fairy tale perfect. Scars lingered, doubts whispered. But in the quiet after, his hand in mine, we built something human. Imperfect, enduring ours. And as the J train rumbled below, carrying strangers to their own dramas, I knew we'd shocked ourselves into grace.